Okay, so welcome to the first video, and I've got my piece of A3 Bockingford paper. Details you can find in the resources exactly about this paper. I'm going to use my favourite brush, as we all know, which is the Hake. I'm going to use this number 3 round brush, and then colours, all we're going to use is red, which is alizarin crimson, ultramarine, which is blue, lemon yellow, and raw sienna. Okay, I'm pretty sure we can do the picture with just the 4 colours. I've got my clean plate ready and my tub full of clean water. Very important, handful of kitchen towel as well. So that's all sorted. What we'll do now, we'll stick the paper down to the board so that it keeps it in check. It'll still cockle, but we'll keep that in check as we go. Oh, got a nice little mark there. No worry, just turn it over. And then, using our masking tape, stick it down. Now, you've probably heard about stretching paper before you start, but I tend to use the painting to stretch it. You know, the water that I use during the painting process. Whenever I've tried stretching paper, which is, I'll just quickly explain, stretching is basically you stick it down like we are doing and then just wet it with loads and loads of clean water and then just let it dry. Every time I've tried to do that, the paper just feels used. After, you know, it just doesn't feel fresh. So I've just developed the way of doing it by using the washes of the painting to stretch it. You'll see that anyway. Okay, so that's nice and secure on the board, and we're all ready to go. And you can see your photograph. I've put it that way, I think. I've put it somewhere there, the original photograph. And let's just check out what we need to do. Before we start, we just need to figure out that what Turner's done here, he's used the rule of thirds, you know, for his composition. So the horizon is a third of the way up. So keep that in mind. And then he's half. So we're all ready to go now. We've stuck the paper down securely, and it'll cockle like crazy, but it'll also then straighten out afterwards, as you'll see. Now, Turner in this painting, he's used the rule of thirds. He's got his horizon line a third of the way up the picture, or 2/3 of the way down. So that's the golden section. And then where he's got the tower here, that's kind of giving the golden section the other way. And it's all just stuff that happens in your mind. There's ways of putting a picture together that work better than other ways, and as we've explained in other videos, the golden section, thirds, rule of thirds, is the way to go. So let's bear in mind that that's where we're going to have our horizon line. And now let's look at the colours. We start with the lightest colours, which is obviously like a yellowy colour in this painting, and it kind of permeates all the way through. So as a background colour, I'm going to use the raw sienna. As you can see, I use the tubes, the 8mm tubes. The bigger tubes can dry out on you, so it's just a nice in-between of the 8mm one. And the other thing, these are student colours, these aren't artist colours, so they're about a third the price. Okay, so put out a nice amount of raw sienna. Don't forget to put your top back on, otherwise it'll dry out. Okay, so I'm armed with my piece of tissue. Get some plenty of water on my Hake. Let's mix a nice wash. See how vibrant that colour is when you get the light on it. So plenty of water, don't want to run out halfway through my wash. And a wash, by the way, if you've not heard that saying before, literally all a wash is the first layer of colour that you put down, and then the second layer on top of that. Right, so a little bit more water, we should have plenty there now. So my brush is fully laden, and I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wash the colour all the way down the piece of paper basically, and I'm going to go right the way across, side to side. Don't worry about going over the edges. Concentrate on not pressing on too hard. Keep it nice and fluid, the paint. Not pressing on too hard, just nice and gently, but making sure I'm filling all the ridges. And you know, the ridges of the paper itself is textured if you're using watercolour paper. And you need it just to fill everything. So use what you've mixed, and then once you've got it on, just very, very lightly now, all the way back up so it evens it out. And like I say, this is the first wash. Okay. Now, what I want to do at the top and the bottom, I just want to make that darker, like a gradient. So let's just mix some more of the raw sienna. You see, I've made that a little bit darker. I've used a little bit more pigment and a little bit less water. All I'm going to do is put that at the top, just a little bit more into it, and then at the bottom, just to give it interest. Okay, so wipe off your plate. And we're going to let that dry now. But what I want you to do while that's drying is just keep tilting it one way and then the other. Now, you'll learn over the time, you're going to learn that in watercolour painting, it's management of the water which is probably the most important thing. And this is what I'm doing now, because by moving it left and right, up and down like this, it evens the wash out, so it doesn't look as though you've moved it around. If it's looking even, just leave it alone. Just keep it a check on all, get rid of this excess water or colour that's running over the edges. Just keep getting rid of that. Try not to touch the surface. And if I need to come back, I will do, but we're going to let that dry now totally. Alright, so that's going to take a while. So go and have a cup of coffee or something, and I'll see you shortly. Right, I've come back after about 5 minutes and I'm still moving it left and right. And this is the difference between a nice professional looking picture and an amateur picture, really. It's patience, because you see when we allow it to run that way, it's creating little textures. And by holding it level that way, it'll be a straight line, so it's always going to be in keeping with the picture. And this is where we put a little bit more. It's very subtle, but it's just a nice subtle change. Just gives it extra. But as I say, we're about 10 minutes into drying, so this is what takes the time up. I will edit out the drying times, of course, but I can't emphasise enough that this is one of the biggest parts of watercolour painting in a wet in wet style, is patience to allow the washes to dry, or to get the wash at the right time to apply the next wash. Now you'll learn all that over time when you're doing your pictures. Alright, so I'm going to turn off now, but I'm just going to keep it moving up, down, left and right, just to keep the wash nice and even. Also, you can see how, no doubt yours is doing the same thing, it's cockling. And that's another reason we need to move it around. Otherwise we'll get it, in the valleys we'll get more water accumulating. And we're the master, we're the person doing the picture. So we need to some extent, make the watercolour work for us. Alright, so I'm going to come back in about 10-15 minutes. Hopefully we'll be ready for the next wash. See you soon.